bit, I have been doing, I have a membership here on YouTube, and I've been doing a couple of like unedited tutorials there. If you want to see more old school tutorials, definitely join my membership. There is a button next to the subscribe button down below. And I've been doing some unedited videos, and it's been really appreciated. So I thought, why don't I do like an unedited, can I? Hello? This is what I would edit out. What if I do an unedited get ready with me to show you how long does it really take for me to get ready? Although I will say, of course, it would take me less time if I wasn't talking. And also like a true getting ready together, something to have while you're getting ready, or just something to keep you company. I miss the videos on YouTube that was more about like, you know, the makeup and like actually applying the makeup and enjoying the process of doing your makeup. So I thought I'd try this out. Let me know how you feel about it. Let me know if you don't like it, or if you like it, or if you want me to do more of this in the future. I will do minimal editing. I think I'm actually gonna zoom in, but first I went to Sephora yesterday and I bought 4 things. I bought the, what is it called? Josie Maran. This is what I would edit out as well. I think it's Josie Maran. I got the, I think it's Fearless Fig. I got the big size of the moisturizer, so excited. And I got the body spray as well, because I love that scent. And I got 2 things. I got the Glossier Banana Pudding Balm.com. It said online only, but I mean, I found it in my store and it smells very artificial banana. And I'm really excited. So I think we're going to use a little bit of this one. It's kind of, oh, that's thick. Okay. That's too much. Let's put some back. It's very thick. I think this is the old formula, the one that they brought back, lanolin. It does smell very much like those like banana marshmallows that we have in Sweden. I think you might have them here too. I love them. I also bought, there's a new color in the Rare Beauty Soft Pinch Liquid Blush. This is in the purple shade that's Spirited. And I have been very into cool tone and purple cheeks as of late. And since there's a mini, I thought this was perfect. So I got that one as well, and I thought we'd try that. And I just want to get ready. Let's zoom in and let's get ready. I do have, like I said, a few new things and then some oldies but goodies. But yeah, let me know what you think about this down in the comments, because like I said, in my membership it's been very appreciated, but you never know how it's gonna like go over with the bulk of the internet. So give me your thoughts down below. Okay, so I actually went and I got an energy drink. I've been really enjoying this brand. It's called Uptime Energy. I don't know, like I enjoy their flavors, especially they have a this one that is passion fruit. They have one that's mango that's really good, and also the blood orange one is really nice. I have a full day of work ahead of me, so I needed that. I also put out on my stories. I love stories on Instagram. This is the video that I posted today on my book channel. And I posted I'm sitting down to film a chat video, ask me anything. So, let's see what kind of, someone was asking me in Swedish, kan du lägga till dina månads book reviews med stjärnorna, dina highlights också? If they were asking me if I could put my book reviews in my highlights too, I wonder if I could go, if I'm gonna look into that. I'm gonna look into that and see if that's possible. When reviewing a makeup product, what's something you always judge the product on? That's a really, really good question. I'm gonna be using this one because I've been loving it so much from Gerard Cosmetics. That's a really, really good question. There's a couple of things that I do my reviews on. Ease of use is one of them. Like, is it difficult to use? Because I feel like sometimes, yeah, the product is nice, but it is a little finicky. It only works with this special kind of tool or special kind of technique, or it only works if you use it together with like this kind of product. Oh, is that the whitehead? That's interesting. But one of the things that I've been starting to review lately is actually pricing. Nothing has made me rethink how I review makeup as starting my own makeup brand. Because now I've started to realize what actually goes into pricing. And some products, because people are saying like, oh, this has such a high margin, this is so overpriced. But a lot of times, things that we think are overpriced with makeup is not. Like the production cost really is that high. And then some of the things I have realized is there are some things that I really thought cost more to produce than they do. And there are some things also where I feel like when we are reviewing makeup as makeup reviewers, we are not putting enough emphasis on the pricing. I've talked about this a lot lately, but it's because it's been something that's been on my mind. I honestly feel, and I sometimes I have like folders on my computer where I save like inspirational things like, oh, I would love to do a video on this. And I have a folder where I am saving indie palettes and the cost of them. And it was basically for myself to be like, what is the cost of indie palettes? And what are you actually getting for the money? Like, how many pans are you getting? How many like shimmers? How many multichromes? And I named the folder How Multichromes Killed Indie Brands. I know this is very dramatic, but that's what I named the folder. Because when I started my brand, again, we're getting off on a tangent already, but when I started my brand and when I started developing like the eyeshadow palette, because of course that took a really long time, I remember thinking, is $45 going to be too much? Is that too high of a price tag? Because I was starting to think about like, what does like packing and shipping the product cost? Like, what does the warehouse cost? And, you know, I have like an artist, I have someone drawing the covers, like I need to pay that person. I was thinking about like all of those things, like what cost money and who do I need to pay and all of these things. And I was thinking, I'm using the Natasha Denona bronzer, I was thinking, is $45 too high? And then I started looking around. I'm like, I have a fuzzy. I started looking around. I'm like, what are other brands charging for the palettes? Because I think for me, I don't want to compare myself to other brands really. I need to set the price to like where it makes sense for my brand. Like, how much does it cost to produce my products? And I really did try to push down the price as much as possible with 45. And I started looking around. I was like, how is this compared to other indie palettes? And I realized there has been a big shift in the indie community, and there is almost no brands that are producing eyeshadow palettes under $50 anymore. And that really, it clicked with me. I'm like, when did this happen? When did this shift happen? And I think it really was with multichromes. When consumers started asking for special shades, they're like, we want special shades in the palettes. We want all the palettes to have like special shades. And some companies were selling out of palettes that had a bunch of special shades in there, like Adept Cosmetics, even at a high price tag. And I think it made a lot of brands think, this is what consumers want. And now you can hardly find palettes under $50. And I have seen now, since I started talking about this with my friends, and since I started like talking about this with myself as well, like having this discussion with myself, like what is the cost of makeup? What is driving up the cost? It is the multichromes that is driving up the cost, by the way. And I've started realizing when I see reviews, and this goes for me as well. Listen, I am guilty of this. This is not me pointing fingers to anyone else. It's me as well. We rarely mention price when we review makeup. And I have seen now people holding up my palette from Cinch Beauty. And then they'll hold up another palette that is twice the cost. And they'll say, I like this expensive palette, not saying expensive, but I like this other palette so much more because this palette from Cinch doesn't have enough special shades. And that is fair. But like, it made me think, is this what consumers want? Do they want the like $70, $80, $90 palettes to get those special shades? Or is that something that reviewers say because we don't think about money? it really, really got me thinking. And for me as well. And that's one of the reasons why I started thinking about price and started thinking about what brands are doing palettes that are not that expensive. And it's Nomad Cosmetics, Oden's Eye, Fantasy Cosmetica does have a couple of palettes as well under $50, especially their 9 pans. And I started thinking like, what really is driving the indie community right now? And I also started thinking, is it the reviewers or is it the customers? Because again, if you want me to, I could do palettes for $70 too with only special shades. But I'm not sure that that's what people actually want. It's such a hard time right now because again, and I've heard people say this so many times, influencers don't care about money. They're getting it for free, so they don't care about money. And this was the first time it actually clicked for me. Because like this person was asking, what are some of the things that you think about when you're reviewing makeup? I realized pricing wasn't really one of them. And it just clicked for me. I'm like, wow, this is what people have been talking about. This is what people have been talking about. Because like, yeah, I can hold up a palette for $100 and say like, I'm so amazed by all of these sparkly shades. But it's also $100. Is it worth $100? It's just something that I hadn't fully thought through before. And it took me seeing the production side and seeing people review my palette as something where they're like, oh, only 1 or 2 special shades, I wish it had more. And me being like, I could do that, but then my palette would also be $70. So that's one of the things that I've added. But ease of use, I also do think a lot about consistency. Like a brand, I definitely have a fuzzy. If it's a brand that I usually review, I try to think about like, is this the kind of quality that this brand usually has? Has it improved? Is it the same? Is it different? I do try to think about things like that as well. And of course, like color selection, I try to think about it in the grand scheme of course, like longevity and wearability and blendability and all those things. But I also try to think about it in the something on my lip. I try to think about it as well. I try to compare it to other things that the brand has. Like this like makes sense within like what the brand has. Does it fit in? Does it match with other products that they have? Does it make sense in the range? Do they already have something similar? Do they need this? So I try to think about those things as well. Let's see if I have any other questions. Do you think you will miss the US when you move next year? My plan is to move back to Europe with my husband next year. We haven't fully decided yet where in Europe we're moving, but we are definitely like moving somewhere next year. There's a bunch of things that I will miss. I know things have changed now, but like work-wise, I will definitely miss being close to a lot of new releases that are happening from brands that I love to review for sure. But that's just me having to like adapt when I move again. And that's something that like I have to adapt, of course, when it comes like work-wise. But what I will miss is being close to my friends, of course. Because a lot of my friends that I have live here in the US. Not necessarily, I have a couple, but not necessarily like here in Austin, but definitely here in the US. And I have been very spoiled with hanging out with my friends. I feel like I've met at least one of my friends every month since I like moved here almost. And that I will miss. The ease of being able to hang out with my friends here, that I will miss for sure. Because also the US has, I think they're changing, or maybe they've already changed. They used to have this like travel visa where you went to the US and I think you paid like $20 or something and you got a visa for like 3 years, basically like a tourist visa. But I think they changed it, and they changed it to $250. And I will be honest with you, I don't know a single person in my life that would pay $250 for a travel visa to the US. I say that with love, but like there are so many places you can go in the world where you don't have to add $250 as well. I just don't see a world where that will happen. And it probably for me as well, when I have to start paying for that travel visa, I'm just like, will I? I don't know if I will, honestly. Because that's just, to me, that's just $250 to go to a country that's already so much more expensive than going to a vacation in Europe or in Asia is. And I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. So I will miss traveling in the US, I think, or like being a tourist in the US. I will miss that, and I will miss my friends. I'm sure there's so many things I will miss, and I think that I won't even think about it until I'm back. I will miss the movie theaters in the US. Your movie theaters are pretty dope. Movie theaters in Sweden are kind of pedestrian. I'm not gonna lie. I really like the movie theaters in the US. That I will say. And the snacks at the movie theater are so much better than in Sweden. I will miss that. Favorite places to shop for clothes. I love your style. Thank you so much. I listen. Don't come at me, but I still really love Zara. I wear their clothes a lot. This is actually from Anthropology, which I find stuff there sometimes. I do shop at Revolve and Forward. I shop at My Teresa, but not like, I don't buy like a lot of things. I will say Revolve, Zara. I do buy some things at H&M, but with H&M, I've shopped so much, both at Zara and H&M. I feel like I'm really good at spotting, will this be a piece that will last in my closet? I'm at the age now where when I buy stuff, I'm like, this has the quality that I know will last in my closet for a long time. And I'm really good at like spotting those pieces. So for me, I do tend to use my clothes quite a lot before I like get rid of them. We're talking years. What else do I like to shop? Oh, you know what I've discovered? Free People. I really like their stuff. And you know what I really like? Free People have this movement, like it's their like athleisure wear line. I love their stuff. I bought a couple of things and I'm hooked. They have a store here in Austin, and I actually went in a couple of days ago, and we're heading, me and Ricardo's dad are heading to, what was the parks we were going to? They booked the parks, and I don't even remember what parks they booked or we're talking about, but I know it was Yosemite, and I don't remember. But there were some parks that they were planning to go to, and I went into the movement store because I was like, I want to buy a long sleeve top that I can walk in, that's like a little like more an athleisure long wear top. I also want to buy a new sports bra, and I was also looking at some like layering pieces, and I really like that store. I think they have really good pieces, and like I said, I bought some things and I've been really enjoying it, and I packed it again because when you're seeing this, when are you seeing this? When you're seeing this, I probably just got back from Bali, or I'm about to get back from Bali. And I did pack the pieces for Bali too, because I think I'm so confused about the itinerary. I know the itinerary is up because I'm going on a Trova trip, and my Trova trip, by the way, is up if you're interested in checking it out. We're going again into 2026. We're going, and I'm so excited. We're going to Barcelona, but the Trova trip itinerary for this Bali trip is up, but I really just glanced at it, and I started packing a little bit, and I did pack the things that I had, because I do think they were doing like some, I call it jungle excursions. Look at me trying to look like Brendan Fraser and the Mummy, but I think we are doing some kind of stuff like that. So I brought my new shoes that I bought. I bought some trainers that are also like good for like light hikings. Oh my gosh, I love them. They're so comfortable. They're from Nike. I don't remember what brand it is. It's Nike, but I don't know what model it is. But they're the first like training or like trainers that I've ever bought. Look at me. Pushed up too far and I broke off a piece of my brow pencil. Boo. They're the first trainer that I've ever bought where I didn't have to walk them in at all. Like, I haven't break them in. In Sweden we say walk them in. But they were just comfortable from day one, and I've walked long, like miles and miles and miles, like hikes, and I've never had any like sore feet at all. I thought that was, I mean, I'm impressed with that. I don't know what other people think, but for me that was impressive. Let me see if I got anything else. I hate doing my brows. What is your least favorite thing to do when you do your makeup? For me, definitely my brows. I use a lighter pen to like do almost like a shadow between my brows to get them to look a little defined. Sorry for leaning in, I'm just trying to see. To make them to look a little defined, but still like not like too sharpy. And that's why I do a lighter pen as like a shadow. Are you disappointed with the beauty community? That's a really, really good question. Am I disappointed with the beauty community? I mean, I don't think so. I try to think like what would make me, sometimes when I see people do, because as a creator myself, it is really easy to spot. I'm saying this because I get sent the same kind of emails, I get sent the same kind of prompts, but it's really easy for me to see when people are doing sponsored work that they're not disclosing, like undisclosed sponsored work. Because like I got sent that mail too. Like I got sent that mail too. I got those exact talking points. I looked at it and I said no, and here you are promoting it and saying, like, making it sound like you bought the product yourself, and you just, that makes me disappointed, because I'm like, and also like, not only are those people ruining it for everybody else, but also there are literally sometimes, maybe this is what I get, like people are like, oh, we're not buying that, we can, viewers will say, we're not buying that, we can immediately see who's fake and blah blah blah, but, and I say this with love, no, viewers don't. Sometimes when I do a sponsored thing, I will get so much crap for it, because they're like, oh, I wish you didn't do sponsored work, and they're like comparing me. Sometimes I'll get DMs comparing me to creators that do unpaid sponsored work, and they're getting credit because like, look at this creator, they're never doing sponsored work. I'm like, but they are. They're just not telling you, and you're buying it. So that does make me disappointed in the beauty community for sure. Sometimes I do get disappointed as well, not with the, maybe with the community as a whole, that we like kind of lost the love for just like doing our makeup. But I think that that is just like kind of like cycles. I think so many people just got fed up after this whole like run don't walk like thing that was going on. And when was that? I would say like maybe 2017 all the way up to like maybe 2020, 2021, I would say, is when people really like kind of got sick of that. So in a way, it makes me feel sad that people kind of hyped things up so much that now people got sick of it. That makes me sad. But like also like, it didn't make me fall out of love with makeup, so maybe I should be happy that like my love for makeup is still intact. But yeah, the when people are being dishonest, that makes me sad. Sometimes I'll also be like very disappointed when I see, because again, there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that people don't always see. I'm gonna try this blush now. And there are a lot of creators that will be very creative with the truth. And there are creators that are literally mean girls, which is a shame. And just because sometimes someone is a smaller creator, they will get the benefit of a doubt. If there's ever a conflict, or if a smaller creator is saying that a bigger creator was mean or bad or lied, the smaller creator will always get the benefit of the doubt, and I don't know how that is. But yeah, there are definitely creators in this space that are, like I said, very creative with the truth, and if they're a smaller creator, they do get the benefit of the doubt, because people are like, oh, I always trust smaller creators over big creators. I think I use too much powders. That's my own fault. I use too much powders and now it's breaking up a bit, but that's my fault. So that makes me sometimes disappointed in, but I also think that maybe that makes me disappointed in like the bigger creators that did lie. Because there are some bigger creators that literally would, like, they would sell their cat for some extra money. And they ruined it for everyone. Because now, because they were trying to hype up products that maybe weren't as good as they said, or doing unpaid sponsorships, now everybody is getting judged based on the parameters that they set out. And that I can get disappointed in. There are definitely some creators that have ruined it for everyone. But yeah, I do get disappointed in the community as a whole when I keep seeing 10 years later, I've been on YouTube for 10 years, 10 years later, and I'm still seeing this, oh, this one is a smaller creator, so that's why this person is granted a better person, or more truthfully saying stuff, or like more trustworthy, that's the word. And I'm just like, that's not always the case. Because like I said, there are definitely people out there. And I sometimes see videos where I'm like, that's not what happened. But nobody will question it because it's a smaller creator. So why would they? I'm going to use a little bit of this Benefit highlighter. I really, really like this one. And I'm just going to do a little bit all over to get this to be glowier. I probably should have done a pink highlighter to go with the purple cheek. I was at Ulta the other day and I saw that NARS highlighter that I love, and they had it in rose gold, and I tried it and then I didn't buy it, and I instantly, when I sat down in the car and we went home, I was like, I already regret it. I should have bought it because I really like that formula, and I should have bought that like pinky one. That was a mistake. Mistakes were made by me. I made a mistake. Okay, I'm gonna keep the lips like this. I am actually gonna be, ooh, everybody calm down. I'm actually going to be using both of these palettes. This is the Bonfire by Gourmande Cosmetics. I do think that this one sold out, but I'm pretty sure that they are restocking this one. I would be surprised if they didn't. This is their fall palette. I mean, it's sold out. It's not even August. I'm pretty sure they're going to restock it. Again, this one is a little bit more of an expensive palette. You can use a code with these palettes though and get some money off. I want to use this one. It is called Smolder, and it is like almost like a plummy base with the blue shift, and I want to use, I'm not 100% sure what I want to do. I should figure that out. I will figure that out. But I also want to use this one, the one that's called Runny Honey. This is the Tones of Turd, which is that poop inspired palette that Gourmande put up as a joke for like April 1st, and people are like, no, we need to have this one. So I do have this one. I haven't used it yet, but I want to use a couple of these shades as well, and I want to use that matte white too. So I haven't fully decided exactly what I'm doing, but we will figure something out. Did you see the drama, by the way, with the, I don't even know if I want to call it drama, because I feel like that's like selling it short, but it was like that creator, what was her name, that was lying about Gourmande Cosmetics and her palette. That also makes me disappointed in the beauty community, because I do feel like sometimes when people make money, they get so money driven that they will, again, literally do anything for more money. Instead of just being truthful and just saying, oh, I totally missed their DM when they were asking me, but now they have this palette out. In truth, it's nothing like my palette, because she was saying that this was like super like similar to her palette, but it really isn't. And like, it's not like anyone really was in the fault, and she could have just played it off as like a nothing burger, but instead she fabricated this whole lie. And for what? to make this other brand, a small indie brand from Australia, look bad so that she could sell a couple of more of her, what I would assume is white label palettes. Come on. That's just mean. And that's what I'm saying. There are a lot of like, just kind of like mean girls in this space for sure. But it's not always the people that I hear getting mentioned as mean girls. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say. Okay, oh, my memory card is almost full, but I'm gonna start with this one, the green one. But let me like restart and just change the memory card. I got 2 different questions asking me where I get my inspiration for eye looks. Oh, did I spill something here? And overall, color combinations inspire me. And that's always been something that inspires me. Like, I see colors together and I'm like, this is so inspiring to me. I love Pinterest for this exact reason. I have a full like inspiration folder, actually that's hidden. If you're ever following me on Pinterest, you're probably like, I haven't seen this folder, but I do have a hidden inspiration folder that is just filled with color combos that I like. And it's down to an exact science when it comes to not only like color combos, but also like undertones and depth. And yeah, that inspires me a lot. Like this top. I bought this top because I love the contrast between these 3 colors. I just think it's so fun. And technically I could have done a makeup look inspired by that, I guess, but I really wanted to use this palette. But yeah, that's something that inspires me a lot, is definitely color combos. I also got a question, what are your bucket list things? So I used to have a bucket list that was only travel. There was only travel destinations on this bucket list of like places I would like to go. And I will say, since I had that list, I have been able to go to most, which is crazy. I've been able to go to most of the places on my bucket list. I had Venice, I had Japan, I had Hawaii, I had Rome, I had Paris, I did have Istanbul. I'm gonna wait Erdogan out, okay? I have been to Turkey. I love Turkey. I love the Turkish people, but I am gonna wait until I'm gonna wait Erdogan out before I go to Istanbul. But that's still on my list. I also now I really want to go to Alaska, and I'm hoping that one of my last trips that I do before I like leave the US, because again we will leave next year, move somewhere, Lord knows. We'll figure it out. I do want to go to Alaska. I also had Disney. Oh my god, itching. I also had Disney on my bucket list, and I have been able to go a couple of times. I honestly would love to go again before I leave as well, because I actually really like Disney. I think it's fun. I'm not a Disney adult, but I love the escapism. I love the escapism of Disneyland. There is just, or Disney World, I should say, because I actually do prefer Disney World to Disneyland. But I love the escapism of it, and I would love to go one more time before we leave for sure. I'm not 100% sure if I want to do the green. There are 2 greens. I might try and do the green in here, the evergreen, and then I might try and deepen it up even more, because there is one here that's called Skid Mark. It's like a very dark brown, like a blackish brown. So I might try and do that. But on my bucket list right now, I actually had, wait, I'm trying to find a good brush for this. What do I want to, maybe this one. On my bucket list right now, for this year, I actually, I do have like a couple of like reading goals that I want to do. I don't know if I have like a bucket list. I need to think about this. Do I have a bucket list item that I haven't already done? I know that one of my goals for life has always been to be debt-free. you don't really have a student debt in the same way in Sweden as you do in the US, because tuition is free, but you can get a I want to get a mirror, get closer, but you can get a student loan in Sweden for living expenses, and the I think the interest is like literally close to zero. It's like 0 point something, or maybe they raised it. It's so close to zero that you literally, nobody pays it off, because like you'd be better off putting the money in a low interest savings account than paying off that loan if you have the money. So that I don't even count as a debt, but one of my goals have always been to be like debt free, which was why it was for me to come to terms with the fact that we were like buying a house was for me like getting a what do you call it, a mortgage was like hard to come to terms with, because I didn't want to be in debt. I will say I'm having a little trouble blending this one out, but it could be because it's such a dark color mixed into such a light color. But I have been really good at saving. I'm really good at saving. I'm really good at saving. I have been really good at saving, and we are actually, again, debt free, which for me is, it makes me really happy, because one might think that I like spend all my money on frivolous things, but I really don't. I'm actually like really good at saving. I'm not super loving this blend over here, but you know what, it is what it is. So maybe that's like I had that as a bucket list, to be like, to have like no loans or anything and had to be debt free again, but we are actually debt free again. So I am actually really, really excited about that, because that makes me feel very adult. But I want to own a vacation home. Now that I think of it, maybe that's, I want to own a vacation home for me. I don't want to rent it out. I want to always when I say I want to own a vacation home, people are like, oh yeah, that's such a good like second income. I'm like, no, for me. I want to have a vacation home. I want to visit it whenever I want to. I want to be able to afford a vacation home. I want to have it in the Mediterranean, preferably in Greece, because I love Greece. I also, hello, I wouldn't mind either Spain, Italy, Croatia. There's a lot of like countries around there where I wouldn't mind either, but yeah, it's a little hard to blend this one. I mean, they're from two different palettes, but yeah, I'm having a little hard time blending out this dark green into this one, but here we are. So that's probably on my bucket list. Do you have anything on your bucket list that's more like a long-term thing? Because I will not be able to afford, have the time to get a vacation home for quite some years. And I'm also like, I don't feel like that's something that you should rush either, because just as like, when it comes to like your home, usually you live where your work is, or maybe where your support system, your family is. For me and Ricardo, it's definitely been, we live where our, like his work is. And it's probably going to be the same next time we move. But a vacation home, in Sweden, it's not super uncommon for people to have a vacation home on the countryside. It's not, you don't need to be filthy rich to have a vacation home in Sweden. A lot of people actually have a second home in Sweden. But I don't want to have a vacation home in Sweden, but I feel like when you have a vacation home, you really can just pick something. I'm trying to. That is just like, this is where I want to be. You're not taking work in consideration. You're not taking like your safety net into consideration. It's only like want. Where do I want to spend my free time, my extra time. Not loving that blend, but you know what? This is where we are. This is where we are. So I want to use the smolder shade. This one right here. I'm very excited about that shade, and I am going to be using this one. I'm going to be using later. I want to have my flat brush. Again, I should really be cleaning my brushes. I look at this and I'm like, ooh, I should really be cleaning my brushes. Where are thou? Oh, here it is. Ugh. That's clean enough. So let's do smolder. Oh, this picks up really pretty. Although that is definitely a fuzzy. I can't say any longer that when I find fuzzies that they're a cat hair, because I don't think that we've cleaned off most of our cat hair. I don't want to talk about this a lot, but we did lose our cat, and we had the hardest time to come to terms with that. And I still, this will make me a little emotional to talk about, but I still have the cat's food bowl out, because subconsciously I think she'll come back. Subconsciously, I don't want to take the bowl away, because when I do that, I have finally accepted that I don't have a cat anymore, and I am not ready. Not ready to come to terms with that, so the cat bowl stays for a little bit longer. I'm gonna put this here. I think that's really, really cool. I want to use a little bit of, I brought out my, ooh, was that glue in this one? Ew. I'm going to do a little bit of the green with the EO 7, and I'm just going to do like a fake line here. Oh yeah, I'm really enjoying that. That's so pretty. That's so pretty. What kind of content, now that we were speaking about the beauty community, oh, here's my spray. What kind of content do you wish that YouTubers would do on YouTube? And I'm not saying that people will do them. I'm just saying, maybe I should rephrase that. What kind of content do you wish was popular on YouTube right now so that YouTubers would do it? Because of course, like, a lot of us are paying our bills with, I'm paying my electricity with my views, literally. And we can't just, we have to find like a compromise. Well, some people just do what gets the views, but I do think a lot of us are finding a compromise between things that gets views and things that people are interested in, or like that they are interested in. And with people, I mean creators. So what do you wish was more popular on YouTube, to the point that like it was popular so people would stop doing them again? I don't really know. I wish that like more like almost like challenges and stuff. Do you remember like palette bingos and when people were spinning the wheels and like blind makeup challenge? I wish those things would be popular again. I feel like those are popular on TikTok right now, but I really don't like TikTok. I realized why I don't like TikTok is because it is an active platform. With YouTube, I can put something on. I'm trying to find a pencil brush. Here. I can put something on and I can game in the background. With TikTok, I have to be scrolling all the time. I have to scroll on the feed to get to the next video. That's what I mean with it's an active platform. So when you are on TikTok, that's why I feel like I waste my time on TikTok, because I can't really multitask. I can't do something else as well. When I am on TikTok, I am only on TikTok. I'm not doing something else at the same time. I'm not editing. I am not filling out a description box or doing research on some other videos, saving some pictures. I'm just being on TikTok. Oh, I accidentally dipped into the wrong color. And that's all I can do right then. Because if I do something else as well, I will have to leave the app. And I just have realized that that's why I don't like TikTok, because I don't think that is I don't think that what people are producing on TikTok is interesting enough for me to want to just sit there and stare at that and not do something else at the same time. I don't, is that mean? I don't know if that's mean. I don't mean to be mean, but I'm not that interested in anyone. I'm gonna do white in my waterline because I want to do white in my inner corner. I'm not that interested in anyone to want to sit there for hours just scrolling and looking at their stuff. It is not my journey. I feel like I'm really taking my time doing my makeup today. There we go. Let me see if I have some other questions. And I'm gonna do the white here. It's called Ghost Wipe. These names are truly something. Truly something. Okay, let me see if I have anything else. I don't know if I'm doing any kind of b-roll in this video or anything. Maybe I'll put b-roll of like the products, or at least some of it. Oh my god, I'm so excited. I'm gonna see Samantha in a couple of days, but she's like in India, and look at her. I'm so excited for her. Cannot wait to meet her and see what she says about India. A lot of people are asking me, how do I feel about the move next year? My mom is very excited. My mom is excited. She's very excited about me moving. How am I feeling about the move next year? I'm feeling stressed because I know how much work it is to move to a different country. All the paperwork, all the tickets, having to ship your stuff, getting new like just getting all the new bank cards, ID. Of course, in Europe it's easier because me and Ricardo, we already have European ID. But you still have to fix stuff if you move to a different country. There are so many things you need to fix. And of course, we are gonna sell our car when we move here. So we're gonna have to buy a new car. We are gonna get rid of our house. We're gonna have to get a new house. There is a lot of things that goes into moving. We are gonna try and bring as much as possible of our furniture, because I don't know if you've ever seen my vlogs when I'm like at home. You can see my home in my reading vlogs on my second channel, but I love my home. I love the color story of my home. It is very like warm and like 70s colors, and there's a lot of like mid-century style furniture. I love our decor style. I love our house, and I do want to bring some of it, but like all of that, like sending your pets, oh my god, you have no idea how much I paid to get the pets here. I paid like, I think I paid like probably like $4,000 just to get the pets here. So there's like a lot of money that goes into moving. I love that. That looks so cool. I'm trying to use up this mascara by, this is the Flutter Extension by Lancome. I think this, I think this mascara is really good for the lower lash line, but it's not as good for the upper lashes. But it stresses me because I know how much work has to be done. And now, of course, with Singe, I'm gonna have to like start up that business in Europe. And there's like a lot of things like, which is like economically, like with papers and banks and taxes, and like it's no joke, I will say. So I'm excited to be back in Europe. I am the kind of person who actually loves change. But I'm also, and maybe it's because I remember how much hassle it was moving here. I know how much work it's gonna be moving. And that's also why I've said that next year I'm probably not gonna do a lot of trips. I've been doing trips now because like my schedule is flexible. I am able to travel with friends, to meet friends, to do stuff. So I've been traveling so much more here in the US than I've ever done before, and let's be honest, that I ever will again. So this is like a time of my life that I'm probably never gonna have this kind of life again. When I move back to Europe, I do want to, I don't know if I don't want to get necessarily like, I'm not like, oh, I'm gonna go get a 9 to 5. I don't think that, but I definitely want to get, I want to activate myself a little bit different in Europe than what I have been doing here. And I don't think I will fill my time with traveling. I want to spend my time and my money differently when we move back to Europe. So like I said, I have my next like Trova trip coming up, and I think that that might be, if it does end up like actually like, you know, coming into fruition and all of that, that might probably be my only trip that I do next year. And it might actually also be the last Trova trip I ever do. I'm not saying that that's true, but it might be. Simply because I think my life will go in a different direction once we get back to Europe. I want to get another dog. If we get a backyard, I want to get a house with a backyard, and I want to get another dog. Okay, wow, I'm not making sense. In Sweden, we don't really have like rescues like there are in the US. We don't really have that. So our first dog is not a rescue, but our second dog is a rescue. But in the south of Europe, there are some rescues, especially like Spain, Italy, not as prevalent, that is also something I would have cut out as it is here in the US, but there are definitely some rescue dogs, and there are some more like roaming dogs. So I kind of want to rescue a dog from like the south of Europe. We want to get a third dog, and I've told Ricardo that I would like to rescue a dog from south of Europe. But I have also said we're not getting a third dog until we have a backyard, because we do have a patio here, but I always walk our dogs. But I told Ricardo, if we are getting a third dog, I need to be able to have the option to just let the dogs out for a potty break, because walking 3 dogs is really a hassle. And if I'm still working from home, I don't want to have that, put the mirror away, I don't want to have that looming over me that I need to do that. I got, should I use one of those? I got this one yesterday. This is from Valentino, which is crazy. But they sent me Valentino Beauty presents Spike Valentino Hydrating Disco Lip Balm. And it is 3 different shades. And I thought maybe you put this one away. Maybe we can use one of these. Right? Ooh, these are pretty and heavy. Oh. So it's a balm, so it's like sheer? That's beautiful. This is in Spike Valentino Lip Balm in 199A, bold brown. Okay. Oh, yeah. So bold brown, extra pink, and rose in the woods. Wait, this is so exciting. The packaging is stunning. Look at that pink balm. Okay, maybe not with this look. But let's look at this one. What was it called? Rose in the woods. So maybe like a muted. Oh, yeah, almost like a peachy rose. Okay, we're definitely doing the brown. I mean, clearly we're doing the brown. Those are stunning. What a component. I have only gotten 2 PR packages from Valentino Beauty, but dang, these are nice. I mean, again, what you're paying for here is the brand and hopefully the quality, but also like the packaging. I can tell you that right now. This is a very expensive packaging. Oh my god. So this is the color that I want to do. I'm gonna use, I got these new lip liners by Unearthly Cosmetics. I have all the lip liners here, all the new colors, but I used Foggy the other day and I want to use it again. I'm gonna sharpen it a little bit. I love the Unearthly lip liners, and the Foggy shade was so beautiful. It was like a, oh, you can see. It's like a cool toned, almost like mauve leaning brown. Oh, the guy that cleans our pool is here. It's not my pool, it's the community's pool, but it is right outside my window, so that's why I call it my pool. Because it's right here. It's one of the reasons we bought this house. Because if you didn't know, I love the warmth, I love the summer, and I love spending time by the pool. And look at this. I'm so excited that it's so close to here. And when I heard that this house was available and that it's been on the market for a really long time, I was like, we should look at that. Oh, okay. This is something I like, which is a balm that's actually a balm. It is not goopy, it is not sticky, it is not thick, it is thin but buildable with still visible color. Stunning. It does smell a little bit like department store flowers. You know what I mean when I say department store flowers. You definitely know what I mean. But that is really beautiful. I'm gonna put on some lashes. I have them actually here in front of me, and I want to have a little fuzzy in it. Let me see. I put the glue here yesterday. Oh my god, so many things here in front of me. And I think that's gonna be the last thing that I do. Now I put glue on my arm as well. I love that. My arm is a little stiff. I went and I got my last vaccination for my Bali trip today. I needed to get the second one of, oh my gosh, the second one of Twinrix. So I got that one today, but of course, as you're seeing this, I'm already either home or on my way back from Bali. So my arm is a little stiff. Someone was asking me, oh my god, are you getting vaccinations for Bali? And I'm like, I'm not raw dogging Bali, okay? I needed some vaccinations. So I got an up on my tetanus, and I did get the Twinrix one because I was like, I need to be protected. Let me see if there's any other questions. Oh, and I need to restart. This is going to be a long get ready with me. I hope you enjoy. Oh, I'm actually getting some good questions here. What are your best tips for saving money? You're so good at it. Teach me your ways. Okay, this is going to be an unpopular answer. First of all, you need to spend less than you're making, which I know is like, that's really easy to say. And secondly, you need to pull out the saved money like when you get it. So it's what do they call it? Pay yourself first. When you get your money into your bank account, you need to move money to the savings account right away. Not at the end of the month, in the beginning of the month when you get the money, because then it's out of sight, out of mind. But a lot of people will put so much focus on how to spend less money. And this is going to be the unpopular one. That's not the trick. The trick is to make more money. And again, I know that that's so much easier said than done, but penny pinching will only get you so far. For me, I started really being able to save money for the life that I'm living right now once I upped my income. In Sweden, we have free university. So for me, I got a degree. That was the first step. It really helped. I more than doubled my salary by getting a university degree. And then of course, when I started doing YouTube, I got monetized kind of quickly, and that money I didn't touch. Since I had a good salary at my normal 9-to-5 job, I didn't touch my YouTube money. And I saved it for the longest time. I didn't touch it. And then eventually I put in the down payment for a house. And I think that like that's the only thing that I can say that truly helped me is get a side hustle that you enjoy and don't touch that money. And again, I know there's people out there that are living paycheck to paycheck. I used to be that person and I couldn't change that until I got a university degree and got another job. And again, that's so easy for me to say as a Swede who got that degree for free. So I don't really have any tips for... Oh my god, this plane is getting so close. Sorry, I cut that out because it's so close and I also need to cough. But I don't know if I really have an advice for someone in the US living paycheck to paycheck, because I have never experienced that. And I know it can be such a rat race, but I can only say what worked for me, and that is not thinking that I'm gonna penny pinch myself into saving more money. It's more like, how do I increase my income? And with that being said, I was lucky to be born in Sweden. I was lucky that my YouTube channel somewhat took off. And I also, and maybe this is the tip I'm gonna give to creators. If you get into this space and you start making money, you need to remember, you are like a C-list celebrity. You are like a Dancing with the Stars. No, they are already celebrities. What do they call? Love is Blind. I don't watch reality TV, can you tell? Love is Blind. You are like a Big Brother contestant. You are like an athlete. You have a slim, limited time where you will be able to make money out of this. Don't treat this as the never-ending money pot. That is not gonna happen. There is 1 in a million that happens for. That they make so much money that they don't have to think about. Let me get this one back. That they don't have to think about, what will I do after? Always have that in the back of your head. What are you gonna do after? And I said this back when I was modeling as well. I met so many girls and I said, don't treat this as something that you're gonna do for the rest of your life. Don't treat this money that you're making as your career or as something stable. Being a creator, being a model, being like a reality TV star, being an athlete, it is not stable. There is an end. There is an end to this. You get older, you get less popular, you get less, conventionally attractive, so you can't be a model anymore. Only a very few people make enough or make it so big that they don't have to think about an after. You always have to think about an after. What are you gonna do after? And that's what I said. And I told my husband, when I started making money on YouTube, I told him, he was like, what do you want to get out of this? Do you want this to make your career? And I said, well, technically I could live out of this, but I would rather save it so that when this time ends, when I'm no longer wanting to be a creator or when I'm no longer popular, nobody wants to watch me anymore. I mean, like I said, everybody has the rise and the fall. I want to get out of this with the down payment of a house. That's what I told him. That's what I told him like 8 years ago. And I did that. And I guess maybe, how am I good at saving money? I'm very determined. I'm very stubborn. And even though I do like spend money, definitely, I do think also like don't save so that you don't enjoy the now, because it's going to be really hard for you to hold that up in the long run. Like, take some money for yourself and make life worth living. But when it comes to saving, me having a side hustle and saving that money and living out of my salary, that was how I did it. Is that possible for everyone? No. But that is what I did. And I do think that there is a lot of creators out there that are like, oh my god, I'm making extra money, and they burn it all on designer goods, on lifestyle changes, on moving to a bigger city, like spending all the money, always thinking there's gonna be more, and one day there isn't. And also, pay your taxes, okay? If I hear about one more creator that gets surprised when IRS wants their money, I am gonna shoot myself to the moon. Pay your taxes. Save money for your taxes. Did Hawaii deserve the hype you had heard about it? Yes and no. Hawaii's nature, beautiful. The beaches, you can get that somewhere else for cheaper. Hawaii is I knew Hawaii was going to be expensive, but Hawaii is even more expensive than I imagined. And this is the most expensive vacation I've ever had in my life. And I do feel that parts of it I could have gotten for less money somewhere else. I am so happy I went. It's so beautiful. But I would say Hawaii is worth the hype. If you're an American and you don't want to leave the country, go to Hawaii. Otherwise, you can get similar things at a budget somewhere else. One of the things that I didn't love about Hawaii is that it still felt like I was in a American city. Honolulu feels like an American city. The big island, there is a lot of traffic. Kauai did not feel like that. It was more rural, and I did like that. Nothing against the US. It's more that like when I leave home and go on a big vacation, I want to feel like I leave home. And I still felt like I was in I felt like I was in an American city, but with palm trees. And that is not my absolute favorite, but I am not sad I went. I'm super happy I went. But I'm telling you right now, Hawaii is even more expensive than you think it is. Like, whatever you think, add a little more. Whatever you thought it was going to cost, add a little more. I'm happy I went. I saw all the things. As you're seeing this, my vlog of Hawaii is already up on my second channel. My second channel is always linked down below. That is where I do travel vlogs, and that is where I put my book content because I love books. So if you want to see more of me, it's always down there. And my Hawaii vlog is live. I'm not sad I went. I'm happy I went. I had an amazing time. But it's one of those places where I'm like, I've seen it. I've checked it off the list. I don't need to go back. That's how I feel. This is what I usually actually do that I don't show on camera that I do. And that is at the end, you can see I'm already getting a little glowy. So when the glue dries down on the lashes, what I actually usually do is I take more powder. This is the Glam Light powder and my Cinch Puff. And I do a little baking around my nose. So this is actually something that I do almost every time I do my makeup. I do a little baking in my T-zone. Put a little more, maybe not so much in the forehead, but like this. And I leave it. And then I like, brush my hair, get my lashes done. Yeah, let's look. And I leave that to bake for a bit, and it helps me with setting down my T-zone and making sure that I'm not too overly glowy. What advice would you have for someone looking to start their own indie brand? Don't run in head over heels. Really think, because that's what I did. Really think about what kind of brand do you want to have, and like what kind of brand do you want to develop your brand into. Because one of the things that I heard people say to me when I started saying that I want to start a brand and I want to start with brushes, because it took me a long time to realize that I want to start with brushes, because I'm like, this is something that I really know and something that doesn't have an expiration date. And people were like, oh, you should name it Cinch Brushes. And I said no, because I want to go into makeup, so it needs to be Cinch Beauty. So like I would say, think a million steps ahead, and always keep in mind that the more things you do yourself, the less it's going to cost, but also the more it's going to look like you did it all yourself. And if you don't have any money to invest into your indie brand, you're gonna have to go with white label stuff where you are not able to change the formula or the color or anything like that. So always think about that. Who are you selling this to? What's the vision? What's the future? And the less capital you have to put into your indie brand starting out, the less you get to decide how people are going to perceive your indie brand at the very get-go. Because I was, again, I did have money to take from, because again, I had that savings account. And I told my husband, I'm going to take some money from this account that we're supposed to use for our future house. And I am going to use that to invest in this brand. And he was like, first of all, he was like, that's very kind of you to say, but like, you literally are the only person who's put in money into this account, so do whatever you want with it. I have a very supportive husband. And then he said, if you think that this is something that you really want to do, and you know that if you put money into your brand, it's going to be exactly the way you want to, you really should. But I've heard brands start out with $500 in a dream. And I've heard brands start out with $50,000 in a dream. So it does manage your expectations, and also try to think about all the things before you start. And also, one of the things I want to say, don't knock AliExpress. All the brands that all the factories that I work with also have a profile. Is that true? Maybe not all of them, but some of them do have a profile on AliExpress as a factory. That doesn't mean that you can buy my stuff at AliExpress. AliExpress is like the yellow pages also for like factories in a lot of parts of the world. So don't knock looking for, but it's a jungle. It's a jungle. I don't know if it's the best way, but if you have no contacts, it could be a good way to start, because like literally the factories that are making your favorite Sephora and Ulta makeup, they also have a profile on AliExpress where you can contact them. And of course, the bigger the factory, the bigger the minimum order quantity. But I'm just saying, it's not just losers and amateurs on AliExpress. It's the big dogs as well. I'm telling you, like it's the brands that like this really developed, like they also have a profile on AliExpress. It does not mean that you can buy those custom formulas on AliExpress. That's not what it means. But I think that people have not fully understood exactly how you can utilize AliExpress. Not buy those like wholesale stupid things that you just buy, you know, 100 and pay $5 for. Not like that. But it is actually also a place that you can, in a way, use like the yellow pages for makeup manufacturers. You won't know which brands they're doing, of course, because they won't advertise it. But I'm just saying, some of the big dogs are there as well. Okay, I'm going to zoom out. Hopefully, I will not have canceled myself with this video. I'm going to actually brush my hair and we can finish this one up. Okay, I put some dry shampoo in my hair too. It was definitely needed. But that's the look. That's the look. I think it looks really, really cool. I'm very, very excited about this. Oh, should we double check if we have another one? And then I can take the prompt down, because I don't want to keep it up if I'm not, like, if I already filmed all the things. So let me see if there's any new ones. Oh, I have a couple. I have a couple here. This would be, let me know if you would like me to do a video about this. Can you talk about your life journey and get ready with me videos, your failures and your success to inspire others? Do you want to see that? Let me know, because I could definitely film something like that as a separate get ready with me if you want to hear about that. Because sometimes, I think a lot of people think like this, but I do think that sometimes I think my life could be a really, it would be a fun book, okay? It would be a fun, like, Netflix miniseries. This is when I usually, like, I stop talking because the planes are coming and I'm like, babe. Okay, someone was saying, what games have you been playing lately on PC? I have only been playing League of Legends Teamfighter Tactics. I have been playing nothing else. I have been very into that again, and I've been playing at least like 2 games a day, usually 1 at lunch. I'm actually going to take a lunch break after this, and then I need to film a book video, but I play 1 game while having my lunch, and then I usually play 1 game at night to like calm down. My husband's been playing a game as well. He's been replaying an old game, and it's like a first-person shooter out in space, and the graphics are kind of nice, but it says it's an older game, but it looks pretty good. I don't remember the name of it. But he's been replaying a game, and I've been playing League of Legends, so we've been like having a long time together during nights. So I've only been playing that, League of Legends. That's basically the only, like, Teamfighter Tactics. I love it. That's the only game I've been playing, and it's been absolutely delightful. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will try and link everything down below in the description box in case you're interested in any of these things. I don't know if they're still available, because I did Well, I think that most of these are pretty new things, yeah. The only thing that's old is that Huda Beauty concealer, but I'm pretty sure she still has that one. If you're interested in it and in YouTube shopping, of course. If you want to see more videos like this, like no editing or minimal editing videos, let me know. I would love to hear your feedback. I don't think that this is the kind of video that a lot of people will click on. I think that this is the kind of video that's mainly for the audience that I already have. It's not for the audience that I could possibly have. It's more for the audience I already have. So I would love to hear your thoughts about this. Do you appreciate this? Is this something that you want to see more of? I saw my friend Batty Bean just started a series that she called Throwback Thursday, where once or twice or something like that a month, she wanted to come back and do like a video concentrating on playing with the collection she already has, maybe in different ways, like a full face of all makeup, shop your stash, palette bingos. I don't know if that is something that I would want to do, but I am definitely open to trying to film even more videos that are about just the love of makeup and not about showing new makeup. But it also, like, it needs to, again, those two legs, it needs to be something that gets views that I also enjoy doing. It needs to be both of those. So let me know your thoughts down below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you soon in a new video.